Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to be opening up my second booster box of Cross Encounters, which is the 10th set from the Digimon card game, but since this is my second box, and like I do with every set that I've done, is that I will sort of talk about something that is tangentially related to this set. So this is the Cross Wars set, so I'm going to be talking about Cross Wars. So if you haven't watched my first unboxing, that is when I sort of go over what's in the set, react to the art and stuff like that. This time it's kind of almost like a bit of a podcast with some, I guess, video elements, because I'll be still referencing things that I open. But yeah, I just wanted a bit of time to talk about Cross Wars, because I haven't actually talked about it or really even watched it since I was done covering it on the podcast, which is I think we finished off in like 2019 from memory, or watching all the seasons that were out. So yeah, we'll talk about Cross Wars today. So yeah, so stay tuned for that, I guess. And by stay tuned I mean immediately. Anyway, oh yes, my voice loves to break at the worst times. But anyway, yeah, my voice is breaking. Great timing, thanks voice. But I've already started the video, so tough luck there. And of course, we'll also play the game of how quickly can I run out of space. But yeah, first of all, it's weird to me that we're getting the plugins that were seen in Tamers in this set. The EX2, which was the Digital Hazard one, which had the Tamers cards, also had the plugins as the main source of the option cards. But it is weird that this set gets them. I mean, I guess, like, since Renamon is in this set, so I guess it's not too weird, but I just felt like it was weird to put in Tamers stuff in a set that is Cross Wars and Ghost Game related. But yes, so to start us off, fairly certain, as I mentioned in my first unboxing, that this is a character that was only in the manga. So they've released 4 volumes of the Cross Wars manga, and I'm kind of reading through it at the moment. I'm still only up to the 2nd volume, but I'm very much enjoying it. And the general consensus among fans is that the Cross Wars manga is better than the anime. But I actually enjoyed the anime, so I have no problem with the anime really. But generally people prefer the manga. But so far I am enjoying it. It apparently has lots of Sparrowmon, who, by the way, yep, fairly certain is not in this set, which is very sad. But if next set is Young Hunters, I will riot if we don't get Sparrowmon in that set. So anyway, I'm trying not to run out of space, but also I'm trying to give a little bit of space between the different piles here, because it was just a big mess in the last video. So yeah, we'll try not to do that. But yeah, so we've also got Ghost Game characters, and love Ghost Game. If you haven't watched Ghost Game already, definitely do so. So anyway, Cross Wars. I sort of started watching it as it came out, and I wasn't too interested in it. I didn't watch like the first few episodes and go, oh, I hate this. I was like, oh, okay, it's different, but I like it. And then I kind of didn't want to continue. I was pirating it as they were given subtitles, and I think it was from like some ISO website that mainly did like games and stuff. Well, that's cool. That's very nice. I think I mentioned that in the last video anyway. That is a cool card, but I'll spend a bit more time looking at it because that is super sick art. But yeah, so I was not like, I didn't hate it. I kind of watched it, and then I wasn't like drawn or pulled in. I watched like 3 episodes as they were given fan subs, and I think I was in the anime club at my high school at the time. I was in the last few years of high school when it came out, or the last year of high school or something, and I was kind of subjecting them to it, and they were like, no, we don't want to watch this is bad, and I kind of just didn't watch too much of it on my own, so I didn't continue watching it after we stopped watching it. And because it was like my choice, but we were like, hey, let's not watch this anymore, I got to choose the next one. And out of pure spite, because I wanted to continue watching Digimon, but I guess even though I could have watched on my own and I didn't, I made them watch My Wife is a High School Student. Out of spite, because they said no Digimon, but you can choose the next anime. It's not Digimon. It can be any anime, and I was like, ha ha ha. My wife is a high school student. So yeah, that was where my brain was at when I was 17 or 18, or how I think I was. I don't think I was 18 yet. I might have been actually in year 11, or at the very start of year 12. So I think I was still like 16 or 17. So yeah, that was what I was like as a teenager. And I made people watch anime that's questionable, and that was my choice. But they didn't let me finish watching Digimon, so poop to them. So then I got around to actually watching it in my first year of university, and I loved it. I adored it. I thought it was great. I was like, oh, this is great. I loved the character of Beelzemon. Or Balmon, and I love that he was given a love interest, which I much prefer as an adult. I don't really like shipping children. I do not make a habit of shipping kids. I don't shame anyone who is a huge shipper, but I personally prefer to not ship children. So I'm glad that the show gave a love interest to, I guess, an adult. Balmon's an adult level Digimon, and Beelzemon's like mega or perfect, so not a child Digimon. So, and that was really nice. It was, it almost felt like we were giving Digimon characters, and that's something that Cross Wars did fairly well, and it's not actually done by a lot of seasons of Digimon, which is kind of a shame. Like, it's called Digimon, but the characters of the Digimon are not given unique characters so often. It's like they might be given like one character note, but they won't be given like any character growth or any particular goals that they have that aren't related to their human partner. But Cross Wars actually, even though it had like a pretty huge cast of Digimon, and the chosen children could have armies of Digimon, not just their one main character. Where's the blue pile? There we are. You'd have your main character, your main partner that had a personality, and then I guess the other characters that were in your army didn't really have huge personalities, except for like, I don't know, Ballistamon and Shoutmon's relationship was super nice, and that was great. The best part of Cross Wars is definitely the second part, which is a shame, because the second part never got dubbed, or it did get dubbed, but the dub never released in Australia. I remember when I was in, I think it was my third year of university, so 2 years after I originally watched the original Cross Wars in Japanese, it started airing on Channel 9, I think, in the morning, and I watched it all, and then it came to like, the end of Cross Wars, and then it was like kind of like a little bit of a cliffhanger, kind of like, hey, well, there'll be more adventures, and I already knew that there was a second season or second part because I'd already watched it in Japanese like 2 years before. So I was like, oh, cool, and then I was like, okay, it's on next week, this is cool, I'm gonna watch the second arc, because I know that it's dubbed. I know that the what was it called? The Death Generals arc, that was what it was called, is dubbed. I know it's dubbed, so I know that it'll be coming on. And they just start straight from episode 1 of Fusion. So what they've done is they've booked enough of a runtime in terms of like how many months this show will run for. They booked enough for the Death Generals arc, but it didn't actually ever air. So it never came to Australia. Oh, that's my old heart, I guess. It's I'm fooling myself. It's not the parallel card or the alt art. It is just a super rare, and I constantly make this mistake. Nope, it's just really nice art. And it's also a card that I didn't open in my first box. So got at least one of the, I think I'm missing like 20 cards. So hopefully I pull more blanks. I don't have any secret cards from this set though. which is, I always open the cheap one when I do open a secret, though. There's always like 2 secrets, and one is like $5 and the other's $50. So like I'm very unlucky. But except for the English booster that came with a starter deck that I got once, and I opened the alt art secret, and it was the Lucemon one. That's the only time that I've ever been moderately lucky with these. But anyway, so yeah, the Death General's dub never came here. It did obviously come to America, but it never came to Australia. We also had the DVDs for the first season released in kind of like the very old-fashioned style of releasing DVDs in volumes. So the 25 episodes was split into like 4 different volume release, like different things you had to buy, and they were really hard to find, and they're out of print now, and I don't have them, but I was always waiting for if they ever released the rest of it. And then when Netflix came out here in 2015, it had, the only season of Digimon it had was, oh, that's nice. That's very cool. I don't think I opened that one last time, unless my memory's bad. But yeah, so what was I saying? I got distracted by Beelzemon, who's just a really cool character. But yeah, so Young Hunters didn't come here, and I'm sad about it, basically. So yeah, so Netflix. Netflix came here in 2015 to Australia, that's the first time Netflix came to Australia. It was very late in Netflix's life. So it had 1 season of Digimon, even though the rest of the world had other seasons of Digimon at the time, and they also had Japanese Digimon dubbed. It only had Fusion, and it was obviously in English because it was Fusion, and it only had the first season. So airing rights, I guess, are weird, and they just didn't have the rights for the second season in Australia, I guess. So that's pretty crummy. Like it's pretty bad that Young Hunters was never dubbed into English, but at least America got the second season, is what I'm saying. And we use the same dub. It's not like it's a different dub or anything. Rights are weird. But anyway, so I actually don't hate Cross Wars. Young Hunters is a little bit hit and miss. It's very much like, as I love Ghost Game and Atmon. They're probably like, Ghost Game even is on track to dethrone Atmon as my favourite season. And Young Hunters is, I didn't open that one last time, very excited, Palmon, which is surprising because it's uncommon. Atmon is very good, Ghost Game's very good, and Young Hunters is very similar to Atmon and Ghost Game because they're both episodic, or all 3 of them are episodic rather. There's like kind of, I would say there's the least amount of plot in Young Hunters. It doesn't really become relevant until the last chunk of episodes, and even then they kind of only hint at it in very, very small doses, but also it's only 25 episodes in length, so. But so it does have the crossover, which everyone does love, and it is cool, the crossover. I'm glad that we got to see Ruki and Mimi on the same screen because they're 2 of my favourite characters in all of Digimon, so that's pretty cool. And but it had a lot of like very, I don't want to say mediocre because it sounds like I hated it. I know mediocre is not like a really negative word. It's just like kind of in the middle ground, but it was just okay. Like, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I don't have as many problems with Young Hunters as I do with Frontier or Adventure Colon, but I don't really have much to say about Young Hunters. I don't have like many highlights. Like, there's so many moments like, aha, this was good. I don't actually remember if there are any episodes that I would actually say were my favourite. Like, there's definitely a least favourite one, and it's the Pokemon episode, because my least favourite trope in Digimon, and it's in every season just about, is the stupid trivial fight between a main character and their Digimon, because I swear it's in every season, and it's always the worst episode. It's just, in Adventure, it was Tokomon and TK both being pretty petty, TK especially, and but then you find out that TK was actually like, I mean, you think Tokemon's being kind of petty, but then you realize he's right for judging Pico Devimon by its cover, and we get the exact same thing in Young Hunters. So yeah, Young Hunters does have problems, and people are right not to like it, but also they're right to like it if they so want to. I don't think I got this one last time either, but I can't remember. No, I think maybe I did. But yeah, so I'm not a huge fan of Young Hunters, but the rest of Cross Wars is pretty good, in my opinion. Young Hunters kind of brings it down to more of like instead of ranking in anywhere near my favourites out of all the seasons, it kind of ranks slightly like in the middle or just a bit lower than that. But yeah, I have a lot of problems with Frontier. Frontier is definitely my least favourite season. I've ragged on about it extensively. My main point is that the side characters who are meant to be main characters didn't do anything. And the moral of the story for the girls' arc is don't be introverted. So, yeah, a few things that I don't like there. But at least with Young Hunters, it doesn't like pretend to have any characters that aren't Taigeru, but when it does, it's focusing on characters that we already know about, or are the evil tamers or the kind of edgelord ones. But yeah, most of Cross Wars is pretty good, and I'm like one of my favorite episodes is the Lotmon and the vampires one. I like that episode, and I really need to rewatch Cross Wars. Maybe after I'm done reading all of these, all 4 of them. It takes a long time because I've mentioned this countless times before, but the manga has a lot of army-based vocabulary, which I'm not super familiar with. I should be, because it's in WaniKani, I'm sure, but I just didn't retain any of the army-based vocab because it's not something that comes up that often, except for when you read the Cross Wars manga, apparently. But yeah, so I will likely cover the manga at some point, and making sure I don't cut the card. And when I do, I will also, I guess, rewatch Cross Wars because it's on Crunchyroll, and that's pretty good. I can rewatch it pretty easily that way. But yeah, I think Cross Wars, a lot of people didn't give the chance to, in the same way that they don't give a chance to Atmon, for example. They're very different from your standard Digimon. They didn't really have the same levels until recently-ish, until they were added to the Digimon reference book, so they could be added to the card game and to things like the virtual pets or the video games. They had to be given the same levels. So a lot of people... Oh. Again, I think that might be an alt art. Because I think that's an alt art, which is a shame because I didn't actually open the non-parallel version of that card. I'm fairly certain anyway. Or am I fooling myself and it's another pretty art? I'm going to put that to the side because I haven't opened a parallel card yet. And I haven't opened a secret. So I'm going to say that might be from looking from here, I can see it's got the shininess of the parallel. That's a shame. No secret in this set for me. But if you're listening to this and you haven't watched Cross Wars, definitely give it a go. Don't be scared off because it looks different. It is very different though. So I understand that's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's definitely worth somebody giving it a go. It feels more childlike than the other seasons. It looks like he's a Cyclops here, and that's fine because, like, I'm not one of those people who's going to pretend that Digimon, it can be like, an adult show. It's not. It's a kid's show at its very nature, and Cross Wars feels even more so like a kid's show. But also, if you say, hey, what about watching the dub? This is one of the rare cases I say I watch the sub over the dub for this, not only because it's all accessible as a sub, and it's actually not accessible in the dub, and also they didn't complete it. There's this moment where Taiki, you find out that the reason he can't say no, and the reason why he's always helping everyone is because when he was a little bit younger, there was a younger kid, and the kid was sick. And he was like, okay, I can help the kid, or I can go home or go to sport practice or whatever. And Taiki decides not to help the kid. And he later finds out that the kid almost died and was rushed to hospital. And he was like severely sick and in hospital for a long time. He was very sick. He eventually got better, but he could have died, and it was very serious. In the English dub, however, it was definitely aimed at a much younger audience, because they had it so, like, oh, he got better that afternoon. Like, it was just like a tummy bug that was not serious at all, was better after a few hours, but he still felt bad. So his main driving force for how he's overworking himself and pushes himself to the extreme for everyone is something that doesn't really... Like, it seems like an overreaction. Like, okay, you weren't there for someone, but they recovered by the end of the day. Like, by the time school ended, they were fine. It really kind of... I put something on the wrong pile. There we are. And it's all a mess here, but at least I didn't run out of space too much. But, yeah, so... Oh, look, no, there's a secret. So maybe... I'll have to look it up to see if this was actually, like... Actually, is that it? It looks like the shine from a promo card. Like a parallel card. But I'm not 100%. It could just be a pretty secret. So I'm going to have to look up to see which, like, if either these are parallel cards or not. But very cool. I do love that. It's a Shoutmon King version, because he does become the king later on, which is great. He has a goal, and the goal is separate from his human partner, which is something that a lot of seasons of Digimon don't have. And again, a lot of seasons of Digimon don't have that, and it's basically just like Ghost Game is given basically the Digimon personalities, and then there's Tamers, which gives the Digimon personalities, and even I would say Atmon kind of doesn't go into their personalities too much. But it's, yeah, it's just kind of annoying. Yay, I've got Nene, that's the one I wanted. Yay! But, yeah, so watch Cross Wars. It's definitely worth your time. I enjoy it. Don't force yourself to find the dub, basically. It's, you know, I mean, they didn't complete it, and it kind of ruined Taiki's character. Also, they made Revolmon blue for some reason, because I guess too violent for kids. So that's fun. But yeah, I have 2 blue piles. Didn't realize that I had all that space right there. I'm the worst. But yeah, so just to summarize, watch Cross Wars and also watch Atmon. But I say that in basically every time that I'm near a microphone or near anybody who has ears open, that they should watch Atmon, because Atmon's good. But in this case, give Cross Wars a chance. I kind of wish that I stuck on with the downloading each episode from this really weird, shady ISO website, and I kind of wish I watched it earlier, but I subjected some people to some terrible anime, so I did that instead. I got my revenge for Atmon. Not for Atmon, for Cross Wars. But yeah, so Cross Wars good. Don't be scared of it just because it's different. Yes, it does have them merge into Voltron and transform into a robot, and it actually isn't that bad. But the best thing about Cross Wars is the fact that there are armies, and I always thought that was really cool. I'm not like super into like armies or strategy or anything, but it is cool that he gets to like command an army. It's not just like Pokemon where you can catch them all. You can catch them all, and that's actually like the main motivation of the characters in Young Hunters. But in Cross Wars, your main goal is to have like a huge army, and you just send them out, and it's really cool. Everyone has their army, and I thought that was really, really cool. And yeah, so those are my thoughts on Cross Wars, and I guess also Young Hunters, and always Atmon. But yeah, so definitely give it a chance if you haven't already, and let me know what your thoughts are on Cross Wars, the entire series, 1, 2, and 3, and if you also, in your country, didn't get the 2nd season in English for some reason. So let me know all that in the comments. Like this video if you like him. I like Don Dokomon. He's very cute. He's just a little Taiko. That's his thing. I love him so much. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on the comments. Like this video. I already said that part. Subscribe if you haven't already. And of course, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!